And that brings us to our final act, or final rodeo act. I don't know what they call it there. Never been to a rodeo. And one more Pechakucha. We're going to have our simulation team leader, Amir Rezaei, come talk to us here. Common theme this afternoon is data centers. And after that, so let me pull this up. Again, this is going to be 20 slides at 20 seconds per slide. So good luck.
Can you guys hear me? All right. Thanks for that intro, Benny. I appreciate it. And I'm going to give you a fair warning. Somewhere in the presentation, I have the same slide as Megan. It was not coordinated, very similar. I'm just saying we're on the same wavelength for whatever reason. But, and as Benny said, it's Pechakucha, so it's a whirlwind. I'm hoping to just excite you and get some thoughts provoked. So bear with me. But yeah, I mean, this is my attempt at thinking, hard things that hard to digest. How can we go back to digest them? And the way I think about this is looking back at things that have happened before in the history, maybe help us understand where we're going in the future. So this version is about going through the history, technological changes, and making sense of where we are in this revolution in the AI industry, and maybe have some peace with it, and also some maybe insights we can take on. So with that, starting way back when, in the 8th century, where the ancient Persian Arab scientists mastered this wayfinding skill sets to the point that helped them control the major Silk Road trade sort of volume and reduce shipping and increase volume. If you think about it back in time, not too bad. Another example in Baghdad, House of Wisdom, potentially the open AI of its time, collection of the library of knowledge at the time, helped accounting, complex trade, increase volume in that. And eventually, algebra, as we know today, was created in this place back when, 9th century. This is where I grew up in Iran. It was called Ganats. Invisible rivers underground, helping connect water tables to where the water needed to be to cultivate land. And adopt a symbol of engineering mastery, and a lot of skills trades actually were moved across the continents because of the way it actually worked and helped cultivate. Another favorite example, print press in Europe. When it came out, people called it spiritually inferior. The letters are ugly, but once they adopted it and finally understood what it does, cities who adopted it grew faster. The literacy skyrocketed within a couple centuries, and it kind of helped propel potentially Europe into where we know it. Steam engine industrial revolution, similar idea. Initial fears of adoption. Workers on the factory were fearful of it, but quickly realized its benefits, shrinking time on assembly lines, but also undeniably growing the U.S. industrial production multiple folds within just a few years, 20, 30 years. Electrification and gaslighting had a different meaning back in time. Gaslighters were fearful of it when the lighting electrification happened, but the lumens in the factory helped boost productivity to undeniable levels. The GDP grew consistently over a short period of time, 20, 30 years. Telephone is my favorite example. When it came out, it was called a toy, novelty, no commercial possibilities. But similar to OpenAI, that is shrinking the mental labor on our minds maybe, they shrank distance. Again, the impact within a few years, numbers skyrocketed to 10-fold, 10 million people using telephones. Telecom became big. Some of you have seen this picture, cars. And within 15 years in New York City, more cars than the horses. Same story, undeniable force of technology forcing us to grow faster. Again, within 20, 15 years. It's crazy when you think about it back in time. And again, the impact on the growth. The dot-com boom, same story. Within early 1900 to 2000s, it grew fast and it crashed fast. When it crashed, a lot of money was sort of wiped out and a lot of jobs were lost. But more importantly, maybe something like that typist in the picture that at the time was thinking, am I going to lose my job? We are kind of thinking about it the same way, aren't we? The debate is ongoing. Are we going to be replaced or are we going to be augmented? I think debate is out there, but a lot of us maybe agree that judgment-heavy rules and roles will persist, and the routine things we don't care about are going to go away. Maybe it's not a bad thing, right? And we're going to talk about the implications of that. Already touched on it, data centers, quote Megan's numbers, not mine. But by some measures, somewhere between 40 to 50 hyperscale projects to be built between now and 2030. the massive challenge. Fun fact, within the past 10 years, we have been able to add about 120 gigawatts of power on the utility side. So there's hope. We can do this at a higher scale. That's the map I was talking about, 50% growth in some areas are projected between now and 2030, which is good for AEC, multi-year pipelines for us, but also competition for power, materials, and labor, as Megan mentioned. I don't think we all know the implications of it, but as an example of Stargate that also Megan mentioned, somewhere around to 710 gigawatts, significant amount of concrete and steel needs to be moved. Skilled trade needs to be moved to the areas that are needed, and long lead utility times for the upgrades. So what does all this mean for us as maybe individual people? One metric, around 1,000 to 3,000 workers per gigawatts at peak site. This map on the right showing health care shortage areas in the country. Now, if you put it side by side, maybe there are correlations here. Maybe we're pulling away resources from things like healthcare. Things to think about. And then the corridor of where the data centers are going, if you see the peak and valleys, the lines are where the construction employments are. There are some areas that are mismatched. Chicago apparently has a lot of construction workers that maybe need to go somewhere else to work, things like that. So there's going to be massive movement of skilled workers potentially. As it relates to our profession of architectural design, on design phase, there are wins. The example on the screen is from Foster Partners. They've gone 30 years back, digitizing every single design and image they have done so that they can do iterations faster from concept to schematic design, so we don't have to wait too much. And this is happening probably in different trades as well. Construction phase, one example on the screen, using these cameras to walk the buildings quicker, go from images and image processing quicker to site job sort of documentation. That means less labor, that means less risk, that means quicker claim resolution, that kind of stuff. A little bit of playbook from what we're doing as a small firm, using databases to a few hundred lines of code to do things like automation for our reporting or QC work. This is simple stuff, but 2 years ago, I could not have imagined writing 200 lines of code. It's possible today. We are leveraging it. At a large firm sort of standpoint, you've seen headlines similar to this. There are talk about digital twins, BIM and AI. There's a lot of data going on. There are even conversations about not wasting efforts, joining forces so that they can produce tools that they can use at a large and medium firm AEC type of scale. The message I want to leave you with is there are things to be excited about, there are things to be worried about, and challenges to solve. But if you go back to our core values and priorities, maybe we can eat our cake and have it too. So let's be excited about it and solve the solutions that you need to kind of be thinking about in the next 5-10 years. That's it. 5 minutes of word win.
All right. Thank you, Amir. We do have a couple minutes if anybody has a question for Amir. Otherwise, we got a lot of minutes in the next room having drinks. So if you do have questions for any of our speakers that are sticking around, please do.